to get to, including asking you, giving you our address to where you can send tickets to see openings now, because you got a really cool job now at the Motion Picture Association. But I've got one recommendation.
Yeah.
Don't go online today.
Yeah.
No, they don't like you online.
It won't help
today.
you.
So let's explain this battle, because obviously people that are engaged in online business are really engaged in it, as well as content providers like the Motion Picture Association. But there are a lot of people online that are accusing you and others that support this legislation of censorship, of wanting the government to be able to shut down the internet. What do you say to your critics on the left and on the right?
Totally false. Totally false. 14 years ago, we passed the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. We've shut down hundreds of sites domestically that were stealing content. 1/4 of the bandwidth today traffics in infringed property and goods, as it is. Avatar was stolen 21 million times. Carl Levin and John McCain have had hearings on the dangers of counterfeit products putting our national security at risk. Pocketbooks, brake pads, bulletproof vests, you can go on a long list.
Right.
It's a growing, huge problem in this country. This bill is designed to do something that the domestic bill allowed us to do, and that is to go after domestic sites. Now,
so if my website steals a 5-minute clip of a movie, the government can shut it down?
No, it cannot. First of all, it's got to be the Justice Department only.
The Justice Department.
Not individual companies doing it. It has to be primarily engaged in this. How many actions can they actually bring in a given year?
Right.
It's not a private right of action. You can jump in and do this. And what it is gone offshore now. The sites have gone offshore. And so as they're offshore, our ability to reach them jurisdictionally is very limited.
So what is, of course, you have heard all of the attacks against this legislation. What would you say to those that would say, well, Eric Holder can unilaterally shut down a website if the content is offensive, or a Republican attorney general?
You cannot do that.
What's the due process?
The due process. You have to get an injunction. You go into court. Only the Justice Department can. They have to make a case in a court of law. The court would have to agree and impose the injunction against that site. This is a very elaborate process. Google yesterday announced that it last year took 5 million pages and declassified them unilaterally because of infringement and other reasons. I'm not arguing about some of the good things they did. There was no due process there. They made the decision unilaterally to shut down. Every day sites are blocked all across the globe for various reasons, some of them less than meritorious, but they do it, and the internet has not suffered. Consider this. This industry that I'm now working with employs 2.2 million people in this country who get up every morning and go to work in that business. The average salary, according to the Department of Labor Statistics, is $55,000 a year. Decent pensions and benefits. Most people who see people walking a red carpet assume that's the industry. For every face you see there's someone who built or laid down that red carpet. As we do this show this morning, they're looking at us sitting here. But all of us sitting here know there are literally dozens of people in this building who make this show happen.
Well, but you know the cameramen around here actually get paid more money than we do, so it doesn't really work at MSNBC.
But the point I want to make to you is those are the jobs at risk.
So why are your former colleagues running for the exits? Why do you have senators
I think this is because they're getting people who are getting a lot of misinformation and sending it websites, and obviously emails are being sent, flooding people, and it's new, and they're
something has to be done.
Well, and everyone gets up in the morning. No one has said, even the most severe critics, we need to do something about online piracy. Everyone has said that. So we're getting up in the morning. Let's do something about it. Here's a bill. Now, it's taken out the most onerous provisions that people complained about, so-called DNS filtering and blocking. That's gone out of the bill. And so why can't we sit down and get this job done? Now, Wikipedia this morning and others, this is the height of irresponsibility.
Just a quick question. I mean, Ron Wyden has proposed doing something slightly different, which is to basically attack the financial outlets or the finances of the piracy sites rather than go after the DNS system. What's wrong with his approach?
Well, here's one of the things. First of all, it's the International Trade Commission, and so you'd have to come to Washington. It's a long and elaborate process. You talk about creating more bureaucracy. The federal courts, since the 1790s, have protected copyright and done a pretty good job of it. Secondly, your payment processors or ad opportunities can go offshore just as quickly as the site has. And so you can go after it here, but this doesn't require brain surgery on how to move offshore and then insulate yourself against the legal actions taken by the Justice Department to shut things down. Let's come back here. Yesterday was jobs, jobs, jobs. We heard all about that. Here's an industry that actually employs people. You could be a high school graduate, have a year or two of technical training, and get a very good job in this business and industry. And those jobs are at risk. It seems to me everyone agrees we got to do something about this. Now you've got the petulance. I've got young children. And when they get upset, they scream or they hold their breath. And that's what sort of this amounts to.
But this would make it harder for companies to start websites because they'd have to self-police.
That was the argument given 14 years ago with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and yet all of that explosion of new ideas have occurred in the last 14 years.
We'll see what happens with this protest. Chris Dodd, great to have you back.
Great to have you here.